topic number 5, which is Alexander the Great. So, what do you know about the Alexander the Great? What did you hear about him? How was his life? Why do we call him the Great? What ideas do you know about Alexander?
He conquered Greece,
Yes, that's a fact.
and he was fearless.
He was fearless and ambitious. That's great.
And just
Okay, Ahmed, did you hear about Alexander? Ryan, did you hear about him?
the restless teacher.
Mhm. Yes or no, guys? Did you hear about him or not?
No, teacher.
All right. So we are speaking right now about a man called Alexander the Great. Okay. So this person, he was born in Macedonia for the King Philip II in Macedonia in Greece. Okay. And this person now, after he grew older and he became a young man, unfortunately his father divorced his mother. Not our topic, but he just grew into a very ambitious leader. Very ambitious leader. And we are speaking about time of in peace, not stability. There is no stability in the country, in Macedonia and in Greece. So he needed just to have that wild dream. Why not connecting all of these people together? Why not just gathering them under just one rule, one empire, the empire of Alexander the Great? So he had this wild dream, and remember this, as we spoke yesterday, Alexander was Aristotle's student. Alexander was Aristotle's student. Okay, so Alexander, while doing so, he just had that wild dream. Why not connecting all of these people together? So he started to connect the people in Macedonia, and later started to connect Greece, and later he started expansion against the Persian at first. He even went to India. He connects parts of Egypt, but unfortunately he died very, very young. Okay, they say that he died of fever from at the age of 33, but of course there was another reason that we shall know later. So once again, to speak about our character today, we will speak about a person called Alexander the Great. He was the legacy of the Greek people. He left a huge legacy, and he connected all of these people under his control. And all of the city-states of the Greek civilization, they just accepted him as their leader. So today we will explain how Alexander the Great built an extensive empire. We will also describe the empire's crucial impact. We will identify the major Hellenic Green scientists and their discoveries and innovation. So, shall we start? Ryan, can you read, please?
Teacher, did you say me or what?
Ryan, yes,
I read what's on the screen.
yes.
Oh, okay. The new era of Alexander the Great. In 338 BC, Athens fell to the Macedonian army. Athens and the other Greek city-states lost their independence. Yet the disaster ushered in a new age in which Greek culture spread from the Mediterranean to the borders of the India. The architect of the new era was the man who would eventually become known to history as Alexander the Great.
So, simply, we're speaking about the year 338 BC. At that time, if you can remember, Athens was filled right now under so many corrupted people. Remember when Socrates and his student Plato and their student Aristotle wanted to just have an idealistic society, wanted to fight corruption. Unfortunately, they are just individuals and they are living in a rotten place. So the place became very fragile, very weak. Consequently, they unfortunately fell to the Macedonian army. For the Macedonian army, it was led by King Philip II. Philip II, Alexander's father. So, Alexander, remember now, number one. So, Alexander was Aristotle student. And he was the son of King Philip II. Okay, so number one, he was
Teacher,
Aristotle. Yes,
so now Plato is the student of Socrates and
yes.
Aristotle the student of Plato and
Wow.
Alexander student of Aristotle.
That's it. Okay, so we have a sequence. Great men living at the same era. Started from Socrates, his son Plato, his student Plato, his student Aristotle, and his student Alexander. So one teacher to a student, and a student became a teacher, leading another student, and another student becoming a teacher, and so on. So we have a variety of men which were very great. Those men, they held the responsibility for leading their country to the future. They had the idea of becoming free. They had the idea of perfection of society, fighting corruption, and all of this. That's why up till this day, we're speaking about like 2 or 3, like 2,000 years right now, or even more, right? After 2,000 years, we are still mentioning their names because they sought truth. They sought an idealistic society. They were speaking about philosophy, about wisdom. But other corrupted men at, at that specific era, fighting those people, sending some of them to death, like what happened to Socrates. We don't know anything about them. We do not mention any of their names because they were corrupted. That's why history has forgotten all about them. Yet those who were meant to be great, who sought the true path of truth and idealistic society, still up this day being mentioned, like Aristotle, Plato, and Socrates. And besides today, we're speaking about the last student, Alexander the Great. See the idea now? Once you are great, once you are seeking truth, you are seeking wisdom, you are seeking something good, you will eventually be mentioned for the rest of your life. But once you are corrupted, you are very bad, you are seeking your own benefit, regardless of that of the society or other men, history will forget about you. There is a proverb in English that we say, a man dies when he's not mentioned. So once your name is still being mentioned, then you did not die. For someone like Alexander the Great, he died like 1,000 or 2,000 years ago, right? But up till this day, we're still mentioning his name. So his name didn't die, all right? So try to be great for yourself so that your name will still be mentioned forever. So once again, Athens fell to the Macedonian army, meaning that because Athens was very fragile at that time, King Philip II of Macedonia invaded them. And later, Athens and other Greek city-states, they lost their independence. And that's because they were corrupted at that time. They were very fragile, very weak, which enabled Philip II, along with his son Alexander to invade them. Yet the disaster actually averted a new age, a new era, the era of one Greek civilization, the era of independence. That era was headed by Alexander himself, and he was the one who connected all of the Greek city-state under his rule.
Teacher,
Yes.
teacher, can I go to the bathroom?
Okay, no problem, man. So far, so good.
Yes.
So, in the map in front of you, you can see that here from Macedonia, okay, started the journey of Philip II and his son Alexander. Okay, so that's Macedonia. Here down at that place here, right here we have Athens, and then we have here Sparta. So from Macedonia first, they started to connect all of the Greek city-states. Then they moved into Sardis, nowadays in Turkey, okay, and moved until they reached the Mesopotamian civilization. In the Mesopotamian civilization, he started by conquering the Babylonian Empire, and at that time, the Babylonian Empire or the Mesopotamian civilization was under the control of the Persian. Okay, so he started invading the Persian, and he started to just follow them to the borders of India. So he took all of the Persian Empire under his control. He even sent some troops to take care of the Egyptian civilization at that time, and he controlled also the Egyptian civilization. So he moved from Macedonia to here. He started by Athens and Sparta and connected all of the Greek city-states under his control. Then he would start his journey to connect all of the world. And from that, he would just invade the Persian Empire. Because at that time, we have Darius III was the king or the emperor of the Persian Empire. And unfortunately, Darius III was very fragile. Remember when we studied the Chinese civilization? While studying the dynasty cycle,
Yes.
we said that first you have a very strong dynasty would come asking for the mandate of heaven, and after some generation they will become an aging dynasty. So actually the timing of Alexander was a very good coincidence because at that time he had, number one, most of the Greek city-states were aging, were very fragile, and also the Persian Empire was headed by Emperor Darius III, and also it was becoming an aging empire. And beside the Egyptian civilization at that time was headed by Cleopatra, I believe, and also it was becoming very aging in the sort of army and defense. So the timing of Alexander was such a great coincidence for him, as he just came at the time when most of the civilizations in the world were very fragile and very aging. So he managed to just unite all of them under his control. So far, so good.
Yes.
We are just speaking in general right now. We haven't started yet. We will speak right now. So to speak about Alexander the Great, as Ryan has read in the year 338, the Athenian people fell to the Macedonian army as they were fragile and very weak. And that was the launch of the new era headed by Alexander the Great himself. So, to speak about the new era of Alexander the Great, Abdurrahman, can you read, please?
Yes. And the Greeks, the rugged, mountainous kingdom of Macedonia was a backward, half-civilized land. The rulers of this frontier land, in fact, were of Greek origin and kept ties to their Greek neighbors. As a youth, Philip II had lived in Thebes and had come to admire Greek culture. Later, he hired Aristotle as a tutor to his young son, Alexander.
All right. So we're speaking about one important point. Remember when I told you that at any civilization you will find some barbarian people living in the north invading them? I have mentioned that before, right?
Yes.
Like for the Egyptian people, there were some barbarians living here, started to attack them. At the beginning of the Mesopotamian civilization, the barbarian were the Persian. For the Indian people, we had the barbarian also, the Mongolian and the Persian. For the Chinese people, we had some barbarians living in the Gobi Desert. And now for the Greek city-states, we have the barbarian. At first, they were the Dorians, and now they are the Macedonians. Okay, so some people from the north. For the Greek people, for the city-state of Athens, Thebes, Sparta, they just thought they were not complete, not like us. We are civilized, we have all sorts of governments, we have tasted the monarchy, we have spoken about the philosophy, we have all types of evolvement and advancement in our civilization. But those people, they are not well civilized like we. So for us, they are barbarians. So those people in the north will come to invade them right now. So to the Greek, the rugged, the mountainous kingdom. So rugged meaning it's not civilized, it's backward, it's very not civilized like us, not flourished. So they are half civilized land, not totally civilized like us. But yet, King Philip the second, he was able to live to just conquer them, as he had some Greek roots. He first lived in the city-state of Thebes, and he admired the Greek culture. Later, because he was strong in the field of army, he could unite all of these city-states. And he has hired Aristotle as a tutor. Tutor means private teacher. That's why we say Alexander is Aristotle's student. Okay, so Alexander was the son of Philip II and was Aristotle's student. Philip II takes control of Greece. Salman?
Teacher, I have a question.
Yes?
What's the meaning of barbarians? Foreigners or what?
Barbarians means someone who's living in the desert who has no civilization, like the nomad, like being nomad people. Just living, gathering food and hunting animals. Living since they do not have civilization, they don't have a system of government, so they are barbarians. Salman Swaylam? Abdullah Al-Frayan?
Yes, teacher.
Oh, okay. Can you read, please? Philip II takes control
Philip
of
II takes control of Greece when Philip II gained the throne in 359 BC. He dreamed of conquering the prosperous city-states. To the south, he built a superb and a powerful army through threats, bravery, and diplomacy. He formed alliance with many Greek city-states. Others he conquered in 338 when Athens and the Thebes joined forces against him. Philip II defeated them, and in the Battle of Chironia, Kirunihaya, he then brought all the Greece under his control. Philip had a still grander dream to conquer the Persian Empire. Before he could achieve this plan, through he was assigned at this.
Alright, so simply we're speaking about how Philip II starts to take control of Greece. It's pretty easy and pretty simple, because Philip II, he gained the throne in 359 BC. He dreamed of conquering the prosperous city-state of the south. So he was in the north, and he wanted to take control of the city-state of the south. Simply, he started to build a superb and powerful army. So, in order to take control of the city-states of that place, he would build a superb and powerful army throughout threats, number one, to three subsidiary states, two, bribery, to pay money for other city-states. Remember when we said that they were corrupted at that place, at that time, sorry, and diplomacy also. So he used all of his powerful in order to treat the city-states that he wanted to invade, to give them some money if they are corrupted, and to use diplomacy also, and speaking well, and also getting to some sort of agreement in order to form the alliance with those people. So he managed to form the alliance with many Greek city-states, and other he conquered, just invaded by using the army. So Philip II used every means possible in order to gain power over those city-states. When Athens and Thebes joined forces against him, Philip II defeated them at the Battle of Chaeronea. He then brought all of Greece under his control. So he started first with the city-state of Athens and Thebes. Okay, they joined forces with him, and now he has two of the most powerful city-states in the Greek civilization with him, forming alliance with him. So he just defeated them at the battle, and later he started to gather all of Greece under his control. Okay, so far so good. Any question?
No.
All right, so Philip had also a grander dream, a very wider dream, to conquer the Persian Empire, because that Persian Empire had caused him a lot, had meant him to do a lot of problems to his people. They started invading him. They killed many of the Greek people, and the Persian War, along with Athens and other city-states. So there is like that hatred, everlasting hatred between the Greeks and the Persian. Okay, like this is our main enemy. So they invaded us, they came to us, they tried to kill many of our sons. So now we are powerful enough to conquer them, so let's do that. So Philip had a still grander dream to conquer the Persian Empire. Before he could achieve that plan, through he was unfortunately assassinated at his daughter's wedding. Assassinations means murder. Assassination, highlight that please, is the murder of a public figure. Okay, I believe some of you plays Assassin's Creed.
Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, Assassin's Creed. Do you play
I know it. I don't play it.
So assassination means the murder of a public figure. Assassination means the murder of a public figure. Okay. usually for political reasons. Philip's queen, Olympias, she was Alexander's mother, then outmaneuvered his other wives and children to put her son Alexander on the throne. So, Olympias was Alexander's mother. And of course, King Philip, he had many other wives, but she outmaneuvered, means she managed to outcome all of them in order to put her son in control. And later, all of the other city-states of the Greek civilization admired Alexander to be their leader and their supreme king. So once again, we have spoken about how Alexander himself, okay, came to power. At first, we will speak about his father. His father was King Philip II of Macedonia. He had some Greek roots. Consequently, once he became strong enough to invade the city-states of the Greek civilization, he started by doing so. So he started by, number one, by threatening some city-states, by paying some money as bribery, by trying to come to a common understanding via democracy, or even by using the force by conquering. So he used all possible means in order to be able to invade the Greek city-states. Once he defeated Athens and Thebes, he was powerful enough to unite all of the Greek city-states. Yet, he was a very ambitious man, that he had a further dream. That dream was by conquering the Persian Empire. Okay? So far, so good?
Okay.
All right. After he had that dream, unfortunately, he was killed during
Yes.
his wedding, and Alexander's mother, Olympias, she managed to put her son in control over other sons of King Philip. And that will begin the journey of Alexander the Great, which we will start next week. So, any questions so far?
Thank you.
You are very welcome, guys. I hope that you enjoy your weekend. And if you have any question, have no hesitation to contact me directly.
No, thank you.